What's up? We're going to tackle the concept of passive income. And actually, it's mostly a myth, the idea that all these people are out there making passive income, especially people who aren't very wealthy. Passive income becomes one of those things that makes a lot more sense when you have a bunch of money, but that's kind of true for a lot of things. So we're going to go over the myths and realities of passive income, and then kind of tackle semi-passive income, which I think is a more realistic goal to set for yourself if you're looking to balance lifestyle with earning. So yeah, let's jump into what I've made here, a little presentation to go over this topic, okay? So I've got a few myths here about passive income. The first one, should be pretty obvious. Making passive income is easy. That's a myth. Obviously, it's not easy to make money without working. Let's put it that way. Especially through time, as the internet has become more prevalent across the world and people are using it more and more to try to earn their income, a lot of the stuff that maybe was easy money making is all but gone. There were some low-hanging fruits there towards the end of the 2000s, like 2005 to 2010, and even the start of the 2010s. But especially now after COVID, a lot of the passive income streams, or even just remote working streams, have gotten really crowded. So yeah, if you come into it with the mentality that you're going to make money easily and you're not going to work, you're probably setting yourself up for disappointment. So passive income, another myth is that it requires very little startup capital. Real passive income, in my mind, the only real passive income is investing in U.S. Treasuries, short-term U.S. Treasuries. And those require a lot of startup capital to make good money. I mean, even if you throw $100,000 into a 5% treasury, that's only making you $5,000 a year, right? So it's not bad, but when you factor in inflation, which is eroding your principal, and the fact that you had to put $100,000 of liquid capital in some sort of locked up security like a treasury, it's not really that easy. And anything beyond that, especially in terms of investing, almost by design, you're taking on risk. And if you're taking on risk, that means that the initial sum of money that you've put in is subject to fluctuations. Obviously, it can go up as well, but it's no longer really income. You can't rely on it. You can't plan your life around the future flows that it's going to give you. So for that reason, the only thing I really consider income through investing is short-term U.S. Treasuries. And that leads into the next point I have here, which is that there's many ways to make passive income. Well, we just discussed that one of the only ways to make true passive income is to just put a bunch of money in a treasury, also called like a fixed income product. And the other myth on this page is that a lot of people make money from passive income, as in if you gathered up a group of your friends, then a reasonable amount of them would be making a significant amount of their money passively. And in my experience, and I think if you go out and ask those questions too, you're going to find that that's not actually the case. I mean, if you're retired and everyone's on a pension, okay, that's another form of passive income, I suppose, but you had to build that up through many years of working. And pensions are becoming less and less common and getting stripped down. So as a young person, let's say between the ages of 20 to 40 years old, your ability to make passive income and the odds that your friends are making money through passive income is probably lower than you would expect. So you see a lot of courses these days that advertise drop shipping, Amazon, FBA, and other similar business models as being passive. That, in my experience, that couldn't be further from the truth. The people who do well with drop shipping and Amazon FBA are the ones that are absolutely ruthless. you get a product, it's selling well on Amazon. That doesn't mean it's going to sell well next year or 3 months from now even. You have to be constantly staying on top of it. You have to be also, like, driving traffic to your products is not easy. It's not just, hey, I'll just list this on Amazon and a bunch of people are going to find it. I mean, it's very competitive. There was probably a time where it wasn't very competitive, and when you could pretty much just list almost anything off of Alibaba back on Amazon and make some money. Even then, it's not passive. You still have to do stuff. You're not just, phoning it in and making a set amount of money every week. But the ease of doing these types of businesses is long gone. That was the early 2010s maybe where this kind of stuff was super easy and you could, just find instant success. These days, the people who are doing well are masters of their craft. They're doing high-level stuff. So avoid any course or any sort of promise that you're going to make easy and low effort income from things that are real businesses. Real businesses take a lot of work. They can be extremely fulfilling, but you shouldn't go into them with the mentality that, they're going to be easy. That's usually a very bad sign in almost any type of business. So, once again, buying courses kind of leads into that. Buying courses, most people who are making good amounts of money online have very little reason to spend their time working on getting seen by selling courses. There may be some exceptions, but generally, people who are doing well on their business and making solid income are not going to spend their time promoting themselves and advertising themselves, because it's also a business and it's a lot of work to be selling these courses. So it means that it's taking away from their time that they could be earning money by doing the actual thing that they're teaching for whatever reason. So you have to ask yourself those questions. Why are they spending their time and effort marketing to me if they're making all of this money? And finally, the other misconception here is that passive income is the only way to optimize your lifestyle, to free up your time, and to enjoy yourself to your maximum potential. I think that passive income is overstated, and semi-passive income is the real thing that people are actually talking about, as in, you're not putting in 0 hours a week, you're putting in 5 to 10 hours a week. And that's only after you've put in an investment of several years working very hard. So that's, I think, what people are actually imagining, and it is an attainable goal. So semi-passive income is the end game. Meaning you're not going to work 0 hours a week. So how do you get yourself making semi-passive income so that you're working on your own schedule and you're not working too much, but you're making hopefully more than enough money to meet all your expenses so that you can also build up savings and then start making further actual passive income by investing. So the only way to do that is to, work hard. Start out tough. You got to be a bit of a hustler. And this is, my experience and seeing, what has worked for other people. There's no real shortcut, unfortunately. I know that doesn't make this, maybe this is a bit disappointing to hear, but there probably is no shortcut for you. You're going to have to put in serious amounts of work to build up these streams of income that will eventually become semi-passive. Never calling it passive, but they will eventually become semi-passive if that is your goal. If your goal is to become semi-passive, then you are actually making a sacrifice. You're saying that, okay, I'm going to sacrifice making a lot more money. That no longer is the highest priority for you. Instead, you hit a point where, okay, your income is supporting the lifestyle that you've always wanted. So now the question is, okay, how do I ensure that this, income is going to be here long term? And then also, how can I ensure that I don't have to work 40 hours a week to maintain this income stream? So you start thinking about ways to automate. You start thinking about delegating your tasks that you're doing on an everyday basis to other people. So, if you're running an online business and you're spending a lot of time communicating with customers, you might say, okay, I'm spending all this time communicating with my customers. It's taking away from, my free time. So even though I'm probably always going to be the best person at talking to my customer, I'm going to get someone who's like 70 to 80% as good, and then I'm going to let them do that task. And I'll only jump in on the really complicated stuff. So that means that you're going to have to spend a lot of time training this person, because initially they're not going to be 70, 80% as good as you. They're going to be, like, in a sense, worse than having nobody at all. You have to prepare yourself for that too. Training somebody and the art of delegating is actually quite difficult. And people who are good at it, they're almost naturally like business people, and they tend to succeed, because the ability to train somebody on what you're doing and doing well is one of the best qualities you can have, I think, as a business owner, because you're extending your abilities out. You only have so much capacity as one person. So if you can find a way to delegate and to train people to take away the load from you, either that frees you up to make more money, or it frees up your time, right? And that's the trade-off that you'll have to decide for yourself. But still, it is kind of the hack that, gives you more capacity, however you want that capacity to be. Otherwise, you're just restricted to what can I do all the time. And that's a difficult, if you can't separate yourself from the operations of your business, then you're always going to be limited, in your time and also the maximum amount that you can earn. So all the really successful people that I know have managed to find a way to delegate and think about all of their tasks as like these unique processes that they do throughout the day, and every process is like an opportunity to outsource that process to somebody else, or to automate it maybe through software. Back to what this slide just talks about what I said before. Passive income is usually not actually fully passive. Even if you're earning the 5% on treasuries, you're not earning the 5% fully as income, because when you're earning income from treasuries, your underlying principal, the amount of money you put in originally, is getting eroded by inflation. So right now, like, inflation rate is almost the same as the interest rate. So all you're doing is like treading water. You're keeping up with inflation, but you're not actually really you're not improving your purchasing power even through interest. The flip side of that, if you're just leaving your cash sitting there, then quite the opposite. It's losing money every single day, and eroding its own purchasing power. Stocks, even dividend stocks, you cannot call them reliable passive income, because the principal is constantly fluctuating. So you have to be careful putting all of your eggs in that basket, especially if you're depending on stocks earning you income. It's a dangerous game. So you want to discredit anyone who's pushing passive income on you, telling you that it's the cure to all your problems, telling you that it's going to enable your lifestyle if you want to live overseas. Generally speaking, everybody that I know out here is working on their own freelance thing or their own business. Not many of them that I know are finding that to be super easy or automated. They're putting in a lot of work. That might just be a factor that my friends are around 20 to 40 years old. So they're in an earlier stage of their careers, meaning that they're at a point in their lives where you have to be grinding in order for a longer term to be able to take your foot off the gas pedal. And I think that's the last slide I have. So to really sum it all up, I'm on a Reddit right now where it's literally called or passive income, sorry. And I see a lot of posts of people asking these types of questions. How do I make passive income? How can I make passive income with $5,000 or $1,000? Sorry, dude. Like, I don't think you can. And going into it with the mentality right off the bat that you want it to be passive income is actually a bad sign. It's setting yourself up for disappointment. You're going in with the wrong pretext, which means you're probably not going to be successful. You shouldn't be thinking, how can I make passive income? You should be thinking, how can I make income? And once you are making that income, then okay, now you can start thinking about how to pacify it in a way, So that's my first video on kind of making money online and living a remote working lifestyle. But if you guys like it, then I would be happy to keep going and make some more. Yeah, thanks for watching.